Good morning, believers. Good morning, Israel. We have a crap load of snow in the local mountains. It's beautiful. We don't see this very often. These mountains are completely covered. It's great for California. Being in a drought. We needed every bit of that snow. We have awesome clear weather. That's Long Beach over there. Some of the boys. The harbor. You can see the cranes are bigger than the city. The city's that big, but the cranes are that big. Wild stuff. Good morning, good morning. Word of Truth with JD Nija. Coffee with JD Nija. Jeff DeLoach. Coming to you from beautiful, clear, sunny, cold. 42 degrees. Cold for us. I wanted to apologize for just letting you know you're not going crazy. I uploaded the same video twice. I came home yesterday and got in the jacuzzi and had an adult pop and forgot where I was. So there's that. I didn't really have nothing's really pressing on my spirit today, so it's kind of a let today be a rest onto me a little bit. We'll see if anything pops up as the Spirit works through me. Thanks for being here. I appreciate all of you who listen, because I'm going to do these Bible studies for myself anyway. It's nice to know that I have fellowship, because the fellowship in the world is whack-a-doodle. It's whack-a-mole. One fool pops up, the next fool pops up. There's a lot of, man, I didn't realize how lost I was. And I'll have to, man, I stumbled on that one. I have to, have to apologize a little bit to, the elders of Great Millstone and you know, a lot of what they brought out, just the fact that they pointed me to where the scriptures were talking about regeneration, that has to be one of the biggest pluses or accolades that you could give the Black Hebrew Israelites. And I would say if they wanted to get their church back on track, I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to do it. It seems like, you know, I was listening, Vocab Malone put out a big, I mean, he's actually really fair with them, because I'm not all that fair with them. He's as intrigued with these guys as I am. They're pretty intriguing, and but in a lot of ways, this last video he put out, it's about an hour's worth of talking to a guy that knows the doctrine, knows that church, Black Hebrew Israelism or whatever you call it. It all split apart, and they talk about what made them split apart, and some of it had to do with money and being in New York. It's like, what was the saying? He said, he was asking the one guy, hey, this church, is it some kind of come up? Some kind of scam? And he said, well, yeah, we're in New York. What do you expect? So a lot of what the problem was, and I guess it is with any church, is this thing where you have to tithe. And I don't know if it's true or not. The guy was saying, and it's not the first time I heard it, that they were actually that's some nasty coffee. Jesus Christ. I got to be more careful. That one is bad. You ever get that burnt coffee taste? Like it's been sitting there forever. They didn't brew it right. Yeah. So I have the stuff from home. I'll mix it with the nasty stuff and see if I can drink it. So what they were saying is they'd lock the doors. Finally getting over that cold. They were saying they'd lock the doors and they would check the men's pay stubs to make sure they were paying their tithes. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's pretty crazy. But I just wanted to say, I rail on these guys a lot, and I can see that they're holding steady, even though everything's, especially GMS, is a lot of the stuff that they've said over the years. You got to be careful about prophesying. That's why I don't predict. I don't prophesy in prediction, because to me, prophecy is pattern. To a Jewish mind, it's a pattern. And so, all we can do is look for the bud in the fig tree in the spring and say the time is drawing near. Obviously, I forget how it says in Matthew 24. I guess it is. Let me see. Matthew. How will you know? How will you know when those days are coming? See if I can find it. 24, I think it is. Oh, yeah, 24. 24:32. Matthew 24, verse 32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. And, for me, it's been at the doors for hundreds of years. And so I think when Jesus said this in red letter, he does point out some of the things that we'll be seeing, these earthquakes and nation fighting against nation, rumors of wars. A lot of these things have been going on for years. So, in fact, hundreds of years. And I don't know. It just gives me that feeling like we can't be predicting. Like, one of the ones that tore GMS apart was the 2000 prophecy that the Lord's coming back. That really messed them up. And I can see how they said that. I was thinking along the similar lines. I was like, they were talking about the computers not being able to function because of the glitch in the zero and all that. And, you know, it goes from 999 to zero again. And if you're not really all that smart about computers, you probably could buy into that. But it was probably just something to get us stirred up. They were saying that the computers are all going to crash, and they didn't. But anyhow, yeah, the regeneration thing, probably one of the biggest revelations. I mean, even 20 years ago, me and my girlfriend at the time felt in our spirit that we'd known each other in another life, and it got me asking the Lord, have I been here before? And the way he does, he never says, oh yeah, you were here this time. He goes, Slovakia. He'll do the, and you're like, was that a yes or no? And he's all, So he didn't verify it so much as he answered that I was asking him, and which means keep looking and keep thinking. And he wants you to come to a lot of these conclusions through the scripture, and that's how he gets you to look. And man, I've went down a lot of wild goose chases. There were times where I was not completely in my right mind due to my lifestyle. And I would stay up late into the evening, into the morning, cross-referencing this, that, and the other, looking for revelation, looking for clues to things. And most of the things I found had to do with my own tribe, things that made sense. But some of the stuff I was looking at was like, nope, that's a dead end. And sometimes I'd run quite a ways down a road and have to turn back and try and block that out of my mind, where I was going with that idea or that vain imagination. But one thing it did do, it ingrained certain things into my mind that were true and that made sense, and I learned where certain things were. I learned about certain people and things like that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is it's not so much that GMS gave me that and I went, oh yeah, that's true. I can tell by the Bible. And I looked at it. I had already known that. I'd been here before. So it wasn't so much that they gave it to me, but they gave it to a lot of people that, and see, I think that's where GMS should focus. And if they really, I think what's happened to them is they ran ahead of everyone. They're like, yeah, they were looking hard. They were finding stuff, and they were telling us things that were interesting about Israel. And but then as time went on, they got stuck in these doctrines, and they were unable to walk that ship back, like the Gentiles, like the virgin birth. They're not. If they don't walk that stuff back, their church is going to die, because there is no power without the virgin birth, and there is no love without the love of for the Gentiles. So that being said, I hope. I mean, I can't pray for these guys because the Lord told me don't pray for them. I set these guys up for a reason. They're in the trick bag, as GMS would say. They're in their own trick bag now. And I'm gonna try not to call them names. I'm gonna try and be more diplomatic about it. But I was telling my buddy yesterday, we were on the phone, and I'm the type of person that if you say I can't, I will. I like to be challenged or dared. And so part of the way I motivate is through daring, because that's the way I was able to achieve things that I didn't think I was able to do, because my brother-in-law used to dare me to do things. He would, I dare you, I bet you can't. And he'd make me do, through that type of teaching, he'd made me do all kinds of amazing things that if I didn't have that dare, I probably would have never attempted. So I became pretty good at extreme physical activities. That's probably why I feel the way I do now. My body actually feeling pretty good lately, probably because I haven't surfed. My back's not hurting. It's a good thing. But anyway, back to GMS and Sakari and these guys. They're definitely about men. There's something wrong there, because I mean, even GMS, they don't have any ads. They're not selling anything, and they're basically have the right mindset on a lot of things. But grouping together like a gang, I don't think that's what the Lord wanted. The Lord had his gang. He had his 12 disciples, but he sent them out. You know, he didn't. And GMS sends them out, and they're out here and they're out there. But somewhere along the line, they have to get their doctrine straight, because some of it's really good and some of it's just hateful and mean-spirited towards like Apostle Ricard. You know, it's fun to listen to him rant on these GMO babies. And if you haven't been to my channel before, I talk a lot about Black Hebrew Israelites, because as an Israelite, I'm interested in anything that's different than the mainstream Jewish temple thing, the seriousness of temple, and the Jewish Yiddish white Jewish mindset isn't altogether right either, because of their belief. Same thing, their belief on the Messiah. So anyhow, yeah, I talk a lot about GMS and Sakari and IUIC and ISUPK. These guys came from an interesting spot, and they ran ahead, but now they need to reassess themselves. And I would love to hear them talk more about regeneration without throwing themselves into the mix. Oh, he's him and he's him. So we find out about regeneration. Next thing you know, you have all these King Davids popping up, and they don't understand that the Lord's not going to tell you you're someone really special. He didn't do that. When they asked John the Baptist, and Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do men say I am?" Jesus knew who he was, but John the Baptist didn't know that he was Elijah, and he denied it. He's like, I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not John the Baptist. I'm not Jeremiah. I'm not. But he actually was Elijah. And so if you're someone important, as far as you're supposed to be doing a job on the right-hand side, like an Elijah or a Jeremiah. If you're if you're a prophet that came from the book that had a good report, the Lord's not going to let you know that, because then you're going to get all puffed up. See, he told me who I was because I need to realize why I am who I am. And part of the reason he told me you're Adonijah is because Adonijah was one of the most wicked son of a bitches in the Bible. And that's what one of the guys said. He goes, who wants to be King Saul, or who wants to be Judas Iscariot, or who wants to be this or that? You can't want to be you can't want to be who you are. And do you think I wanted to be Adonijah? I don't want to. I mean, being the son of David is cool. That's a wonderful thing. But being one of the worst sons of David, that's David being a bloody man. And what kind of sons did he have? Absalom, my other brother, he was a fucking Hessian, long-haired Hessian. What do they call him? Usurper. I was a usurper. Can I say no? The Lord told me I'm Adonijah, but I'm not going to tell you because he's not a good guy. That's who I am. I got to realize why I'm doing this work. Because I have a lot to make up for, and he gave me this so I can get through my judgment and get home. I've probably been doing this longer than I know. I don't remember exactly what my other lives were like, but it feels like I was put through some pretty traumatic stuff, because I remember being a kid and being just terrified of strangers. And to this day, I'm more afraid of people that I know, because they're the ones that have been the most betraying. And that's part of who I am. It's like I betrayed Solomon, and now people are betraying me. I'm getting a taste of what it means to be betrayed. It isn't cool. It's not cool at all. And that's part of my judgment is, how many times have I been betrayed? Probably a lot. I was one of the biggest betrayers in the Bible. Betrayed our Savior? Ouch. That sucks. That sucks. So, let me see what I got. So there's that. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit about, the one thing that did come up this morning was we have a woman pastor over here named Stacy Wood. And she's the wife of the pastor of Saddleback Church, one of the biggest mega churches in America, probably in the world. I mean, I don't know if they have mega Muslim churches in India or whatever. I don't know if they're that good at spreading out, enough resources. But Saddleback Church is named for the mountain over here is Saddleback. If you can see the mountain, it has like a dip in the middle. That's Saddleback. So it's over there, Lake Forest. But anyway, the big story is about her. Saddleback getting kicked out of the Protestant Baptist community for having her as a woman pastor. So we're going to get some scriptures on that and come back and talk about what these type of things mean, and whether they're doing it on purpose or what's the play here. Usually there's a play when these things come out, and it's deeper than we think. There's something going on behind the scenes, but we'll see if the Lord has anything to say other than women aren't supposed to be teaching. So thanks for being here. If you've never subscribed, subscribe. I might piss you off sometimes because I cuss. I say fucker. I say shit. I say sperm. But I just speak like I was speaking to my friend or someone, you know. So it's not that I'm obnoxiously immature, but I can be. But subscribe anyway. A lot of times there's good stuff here to learn and to know about the Bible. If you really like the Bible, I'm on the cutting edge, I think, of what this stuff really means, and I'm not gonna lead anyone astray for any reason. I have no agenda, so my only agenda is to get the truth out. JD Nigel, Word of Truth. I'll be back.